So for the final part of sketching Slayy points, which is the YouTube channel, Gautami and Abhyudaya, we are going to focus on the remaining parts of Gautami's face. As I always recommend that always use 4K or high resolution pictures, and the thing or the important thing of using high resolution pictures is that you see more and more details, and when you will apply those details to your sketches, it will look completely beautiful. And the problem with this particular portrait of this Abhyudaya and Gautami sketch is that I don't saw so many details, and when you don't see so much details, you make mistakes as a beginner or intermediate artist. If you have made 200 or 300 sketches, you saw that so many details. If you don't see so many details, you will still apply those details because you know that where the curves or where the nose or where a different type of things are making, like structure of nose is always same of everyone's, like eyes and this thing. I'm talking about structure. I'm not talking about the size and these things of anything's face or anyone's. So after this thing, we are going to focus on how to make it more realistic. But problem is that if you are a beginner or intermediate artist, you will make mistake of using a blending stump or this type of blending things directly. You will not focus on the shading, and main purpose of making portraits or realistic portrait is that you should focus on realistic thing like shading. Shading is the most important thing, and after that making a mid-tone, high tone and low tone. This is the second step of realistic sketches. And finally a third step is, if you want to blend it, you can use earbud or blending step or this type of things. And mistake of this particular portrait of Gautami's sketch is that it was too small to see more details. And if you are using a high resolution picture, if you will zoom out high resolution picture, you will see details. But if you are not using a portrait which is not looking totally small or not having so much details, you cannot apply those details. And if you don't see details, don't apply them. So after this thing, when I zoom out the picture of Gautami's sketch, the forehead part which is completely white, left side part of cheek which is little bit whiter and little bit darker, mid part is darker, left side is darker, and right side part is also little bit darker and little bit lighter. So most of the time what happens is that some part of the face is completely white if the light source is on left hand side. Of course shadows will be on right hand side. So these are the common things. But for this particular portrait of Gautami's sketch, there are details, so many different type of details on face, and here I have made this mistake. And you can also always make this mistake if you are not focusing on shading, that I have made a base layer as I always make as a 2B pencil. Then I have used 3B pencil for the little bit darker parts, like mid part of cheek part of Gautami is a little bit darker, front part or the forehead part is a little bit lighter because the sun rays is coming on those part also, and different type of things. But I have used 3B pencil for the base above the base layer, and I have used a earbud and I have directly blended it. And the mistake that I have made is I have used a mono eraser and I have applied a little bit more dark or more pressure to those whiter parts. And after erasing those parts, it was looking completely like the page. Like page is completely white, right? So it was completely making it a contrast between darker parts, which was 2B or 3B pencils base layer, and the base or the eraser that I have used. So these are the completely different type of things, and it was giving me a completely horrible sketch look, and this was my mistake. Then I again used eraser, or again I have blended it using blending stump on the darker parts only, and earbud for the lighter parts like 2B pencil and this type of things. So when I again completely used a eraser for more than 3 to 4 times, as my page was 110 GSM, it was just tearing up, and the upper part of my drawing paper was completely coming out from it. So I have to use a makeup brush for blending those parts, and I have used a blending stump for the neck part, which was completely black in the middle and completely white on this type of part. So it was giving me a completely contrast look, and it is not possible. So after this thing, again I have used mono eraser for the parts like teeth part, like eye part. This type of things are a little bit lighter, and as you can see that goggles part are having a little bit whiter thing, which was giving me a completely horrible look for the shadows or the reflection of the earbuds or the reflection of anything which is coming to directly for the goggles of Gautami. So I have used a direct thing that is known as 6B pencil for making a goggles a completely black look. So after using a 6B pencil for the goggles, I have blended it using a blending stump. You can also use a complete charcoal pencil also, but as we all know that graphite pencil and charcoal pencil don't blend easily. So for this thing, for the base layer I have used a graphite pencil, so it is not practically thing that you can use charcoal pencil on the above as a first layer or third layer for the goggles of Gautami's sketch. So for this thing I have used 8B pencil for the goggles. And then now again, as you can see that there are so many lighter parts also and so many darker parts also. So for this mistake I have covered up using a technique which is using earbud and blending with makeup brush, as makeup brush can give you a completely flat look and every smaller pores and this thing will be blended. So for the lighter parts I have used a unused makeup brush, or I have just rubbed it, and I have also made a custom thing like using a makeup brush which is one which is not used and one which is used. So used makeup brush you can use it on the darker parts like hairs and this type of things, but unused makeup brush should be used for the base layer like the lighter parts of neck, and this type of things are lighter parts. So for those parts use a makeup brush which is not used before, or you can also wash your makeup brushes before applying to your sketches. So after this thing, again I am going to use the neckline part. Again I am going to use a 4B pencil so that you can differentiate it between those things, three things. So after using it again, I am going to blend it, and the darker part which was the right side part of the neck which was giving me a darker look. So for those part I have used a 4B pencil and blended it using a earbud, and then again I have used a 4B pencil for having a darker look. Cross hatching method is the most preferable thing. And then if you want to see how I have made this particular portrait in real time, how I have made every parts, as most of the part or most of the things if you are going to use at a client or if you are making someone's portrait, most of the time you don't have a realistic or 4K or high resolution pictures. For most of the clients will give you a completely flat look pictures, and if you want to make it into a realistic or this type of things, it is not practically possible. You can make, if you have made so many portraits, you can make this realistic sketch, but most of the time beginner or intermediate artists will make this mistake. So I have uploaded a completely real-time sketch on my second channel which is Shwet Sketches 2.0. You can check out a complete 8 hour and 45 minute sketch of this particular portrait of Slayy, and you can check out every portrait that I have uploaded in this channel. You can check out their portraits in real time in seconds. So if you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like and comment down your question and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. Tattoos.